Hey guys, Chart Stopper's back with another video. In this channel, we take a look at different stocks and map out their key support and resistance areas on their chart. It's important to know these areas before buying any stock, and it's also important to know what kind of a trend a stock is in before you buy into it. Support and resistance is one of the most important things you should know about a stock before you either buy or sell. Also, if you're doing any day trading, swing trading, or options, you're definitely going to want to get familiar with support and resistance. Just to let you know, I'm not a financial expert. These videos are for educational purposes only, but I am here to point out key factors on the charts which do impact the price action of a stock. And I also provided a link in the description for Webull. You could use that to start an account and get 2 free stocks. I also provided a link for Robinhood. You could use that to start an account and get 1 free stock. And just to let you guys know, I will be doing 3 videos per week on 3 different stocks. So if you have a recommendation, leave a comment below and I'll try to get to it. Okay, so with nothing more about that, let's get into the market today. Today is March 29th, 2021, and today the S&P 500 is down 0.11%. The Dow Jones is down, or it's actually up 0.11%, and the NASDAQ is down again 0.43%. So it's a little bit of a mixed day today. The NASDAQ is once again the loser of today. It's lagging behind all of the other industries. So let's take a look at what we're getting into today. Today we are going to be taking a look at Palantir. I wanted to take a look at this stock because it has been getting another stock that's been getting beat up lately because of this correction. So I wanted to take a look at their chart and go over a few things for the people that are invested in them or planning to maybe buy the stock or do a trade on them. So let's take a look at what they're doing today. Today they are down 96 cents, which is 4.27% today. And they've been really getting hammered lately. You could see on the chart here, I've got it all laid out. I'll explain this here, what I have laid out. I have the support and resistance areas laid out in the blue, and I have trend lines. I have this negative trend line here, the downtrend, as you could see on the chart. That's laid out in the red line, and I also have an uptrend that is laid out in the green line. And you can also see on the daily chart here, we have the 50-day moving average. That is the line here in the middle in the blue. The 200-day moving average does not show up on the daily chart yet because this stock is fairly new. It did come out on September 30th of 2020, so the 200-day moving average does not show up yet on the daily chart. Okay, so you see I have my chart laid out, and I'm going to go over a few trade possibilities of what we could expect coming in the future for this stock. As you could see, we hit an all-time high of $45, and that came on January 27th of this year, 2021. Now, ever since this stock was released, you saw a lot of interest in this stock. It pretty much just took off running, and it never looked back. It did trade sideways for a little period of time right in here. That was from about the end of November till about, the beginning of January to the middle of January. But then you saw a huge uptrend right here when it hit that all-time high. But you pretty much saw a steady increase from the day it was released, and then it just never stopped, and it hit that all-time high. But then once it hit that all-time high, it kind of struggled to stay there. You saw it try to test it again, a couple weeks later in February, but it did not hold that level. And ever since then, it has been on a downtrend. As you can see, I have that marked out on our chart with the red line there. Now, there are a couple factors that have been causing the downtrend that you can see on the chart. One being the correction. That is a huge factor. But another factor that's causing this stock to lose a lot of its value, pretty much half of its value here, you could see a little more than half of its value as it's gone from 45 to currently it's trading at $21 and some change right here. You could see that another factor was a lot of the people that were holding this stock that own the company, they were able to sell their shares recently. And that's what's caused a lot of selling to take place in the recent weeks, is the people getting out of their shares and taking profit in the recent weeks, because they were finally able to sell their shares and take profits because the lockup period expired on their shares. Also, we saw the CEO come on CNBC, and he made a couple remarks that people didn't like. He said some things about, if you don't like it, you could always sell your shares of Palantir, and some people took that the wrong way, and you saw the stock has been on a downtrend ever since that happened. So we don't know if it's because of the lockup period, if it's because of the correction, or, if it's because the CEO came out and said that. It could be all three, but this stock has been taking a hard hit lately, and it really is struggling to recover from that. Now, even though all of this has been happening, there has been no news about anything about the company. Nothing has changed with their company or the fundamentals or anything about contracts or anything. So nothing about the company has changed. Nothing about their earnings have changed. Everything is still the same. So it's all, pretty much, I think it's because of this correction, and people are just scared that this is just a speculative company, and, people are just getting out of it. And I don't think that's right. I think it's still a great company with a lot of growth potential in the future. So I think people are just getting out and waiting to see what's going to happen with them. So nothing has changed with them, like I said, and that creates a buying opportunity. As you could see, it has, lost half of its value since the all-time high. So this would be a great time to jump in my opinion. So one thing I wanted to point out on this chart here is I have my downtrend marked out in the red here, and I marked out my trend line for the uptrend right here in the green. Okay, this has been, since it was released, it's been on this uptrend going up. So which trend is it going to follow? Well, these trends are about to cross right here in the next couple days. So this is going to be a very big point coming up in the next couple days here. As you can see, they're going to cross by Wednesday. That's the 31st. So that's going to be a huge day Wednesday. If it doesn't cross tomorrow, it's going to happen on Wednesday. So it's either going to follow one of these two trends. It's either going to pop up out of this downtrend, or it's going to fall below this uptrend. Now, as far as the support and resistance, we are very close to a support right here as we come up to our crossing trend lines. Our next support is right here, and that is $21 and around 20 cents. So that's our support that we've been holding at, and I think that's going to be a very important line right there. So we're going to watch that to see if it could hold that in the next couple days, depending on what tomorrow is. Today's already a red day, so it's been holding that today. You could see this is today right here. It did come close to that. It came down. It did test that 21.20, and it did hold. So that'll be a big question tomorrow. If it is another red day, is it going to hold that? So that'll be something to watch. And then our next resistance is going to be 23.40 right here. That was our former support that we lost during this correction and all this stuff that's been happening. So we're going to be looking for that. If it does continue to hold and stay on this uptrend, we will be looking for this as our next resistance at 23.40. And then if it does hold this uptrend, our next resistance will be up here around $30 right here. That's our next big resistance that it had trouble with in the past. So we'll be looking at that. And then, of course, up here around $40 is going to be our big resistance point for the all-time high to break through that it has tested before and could not hold. Now, the problem is with it staying on that uptrend right here is it is below this 50-day moving average, and it's going to take a lot for it to get back above that. So let's take a look at if it stays on this downtrend right here. It would have to fall below this 21.20 support right here. So we would have to fall below that, and then our next support coming after that is going to be around $18, or let's say it's not 18, it's going to be around 17.85 is going to be our next support. And that's going to be a big one right there, because if we lose that, coming down, our next support right here is going to be around 15.90. So we'll be looking at that. Let me add a line here so you guys can see that around 15.90. That'll be our next support level right here. You could see it was in the past. So that'll be our next support if we do lose the 17.90 support level, if it does stay on this downtrend. Now, another thing to look at with this chart is on this daily chart, a lot of people were saying it could be forming a head and shoulders pattern to be in a bearish trend. But I don't think that's right, because to form a head and shoulders pattern, you would have the head would be right here in the middle, okay? And then you would have a shoulder right here, okay? So you do have a shoulder on this left side, but on this right side, you see right here, if you line this up right here, this shoulder on this right side does not come up to the top of the left side shoulder. Okay, the top of this shoulder doesn't line up right with the left side shoulder. So that's why I don't think we're in a head and shoulders pattern, and I don't think it's going to fall all the way down, because in a head and shoulders pattern, you would see it would have to come back up to about this level or around here, as you could see. That would have to, cross around here. So I would think that around this time right here, it would have had to have made it back up around here for it to be forming a head and shoulders pattern, and then it would have dropped probably less sharply, and then come down all the way back down right here and flatten out. So that's why I don't think we're in a head and shoulders pattern, but you never know. I could be wrong, but I don't think that I am on that one. So we'll keep an eye out for the head and shoulders pattern, but I don't think it's likely at this point that it is in a head and shoulders pattern. And this, because if it wasn't a head and shoulders pattern, we would see this thing fall all the way back down to, around $10 or, around $8, and flatten out. And I just don't think that's going to happen with this company. So that's why I don't think, the head and shoulders pattern is going to hold up right here. So those are my ideas on what's going to happen in the next couple days. I'll be watching this to see if it continues on that uptrend, on that green line. If it does stay on that, I think it's going to continue on up, steadily rising. I don't think it's going to be a big bounce like we've seen this have in the past, just because of the market conditions lately. I think it's just going to be a steady rise on the uptrend, and I think you're going to see this thing go on to make new all-time highs this year, and it's probably going to double from here at least, probably by the end of the year, if it does stay on that uptrend. But if it does not, if it stays on the downtrend, I think you might be looking at it going down to 17.84 and testing that support level down there. I don't think it's going to go below that, but I think it will go down to that 17.84 before making a reversal back to the uptrend. So that's what I'm going to be watching for definitely in the next couple days, to see what happens when these two patterns cross, these two trend lines, and see which way it goes. So those are my trade ideas on Palantir. I hope you guys can take some of my ideas here and use it in your trading. And hope you guys liked the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and check out my links in the description below. And we'll see you next time on Chart Stoppers.